Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Last week, we talked about the serious side of money. Today, we are switching gears to talk about the fun side of money. So, as my late great mother-in-law Dee Dee used to say, let's have some fun.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Have you ever sat around and wondered how you got to this point in life? Have you ever truly reflected on the people in your life that helped you to the place where you are today? Maybe it was your parents, a coworker, a teacher, a mentor, a coach, others who, well, shall we say, brought us to the dance. In other words, if we are honest with ourselves, we all must acknowledge that it was someone else who was responsible for much of the success and things we enjoy. Recently, Tony Walker Financial hosted 2 of our 4 scheduled client appreciation events this year. The first event included more than 350 clients cruising up and down the Ohio River on the Belle of Louisville. The second, some 250 clients who attended a nice dinner and tour at the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where we also took time to congratulate one of our clients, Lee Robertson, who recently turned 101 years of age. And yes, he's still having fun. So with all these client appreciation events costing yours truly a pretty penny to host, one might rightly ask, why would Tony Walker Financial go to all this trouble and expense to host such events? Well, there's several reasons for that. First, we want our clients to know how much we appreciate their business. Second, we want them to have fun together by celebrating our working relationship with each other. And third, and most importantly, we want to acknowledge who brought Tony Walker Financial to the dance. That's right, they did. In fact, there would not be a Tony Walker Financial without them, so why not take the time to thank them for their business? I guess the reason for my attitude of thanksgiving for others bringing me to the dance goes back to my lower middle class background as a kid growing up in the 60s, which taught me to appreciate what you have and to always be thankful for others, especially those who today trust Tony Walker Financial with their life savings, which is the topic of today's show. Well, welcome folks to the Worry-Free Retirement, and yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, fun-loving retirement planning specialist and full-time fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before we share with you the real purpose for all that hard work and stockpiling money for the future, let me introduce to you a fun-loving young man here in the studios on this, September 26, 2023 in Louisville, Kentucky, America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, audience. And let me say a special good morning to Rose. Rose was actually on the Bell with us on the Bell of Louisville, and she said she enjoys the radio show. So just wanted to give a shout out to Rose. Good morning, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, and speaking of the Bell, I think that's our 4th or 5th time we've used the Bell of Louisville. You've been on most of those. I know you did a lot of the videography.
I've been on all of them.
Okay. What are your thoughts as you watch our clientele continue to grow? I mean, that thing was packed. What are your thoughts, though, as you just walk around and see people enjoying themselves?
Well, just that they enjoy themselves. They're living their lives and just having a good time. It's hard to be on the Bell and I guess be in a bad mood, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's a good way to say it. I mean, it was a beautiful night. We had excellent weather. A lot of people up on the top deck, overlooking, just downtown and, southern Indiana. And it was a great time.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of Rose, I remember I think everybody got a kick out of bought one of those little captain's hats when I got there. And then I bought a few more and handed those out. I remember me and Rose getting a picture together. Just a lot of fun. And we so much appreciate all our clients. Obviously, all of you clients listening to us out there. Again, shout out. Just thank you so much for your business. Okay, so here's the deal. Just in case you missed last week's episode of the Worry-Free Retirement, we talked about the serious side of money and how and why you need to have in your corner someone who works in the field of retirement planning every day. A firm such as Tony Walker Financial that is local, who currently helps over 3,000 clients stay on top of their money. And how do we do that? Well, we keep them from paying too much in fees. We help them keep their taxes down. And more importantly, we help them make sure they're not taking too much risk with their money so that one day they don't run out of it. So that was the serious side of Tony Walker Financial. But what about our role in helping our saver clients simply have fun with their money? What is our take on that? Well, for more fun than one can probably stand, I covered that recently about 2 years ago in my best-selling book, Live Well, Die Broke, which is kind of the topic today. Again, the purpose of that book was to remind people of two things. Number one, you can't take it with you. And number two, and more importantly, what I've noticed in working with so many savers in retirement, literally thousands of them, meeting with all these people, watching their lives play out, and unfortunately, watching many of them wait way too long to spend their money. And ultimately, before it's too late, it led to this very serious question. I don't know if you've had time to reflect on it, Aaron. I know you're on the younger side, but I'm going to pose this question I posed last week, okay? And here it goes. Kind of serious, folks, so hang in there with me. If on your deathbed, what are you going to think about most? Would it be how much money you saved for the future, or would you rather be thinking about all the fun you had with the money during retirement? So Aaron, can you picture yourself maybe being, I'm talking about way into old age, you're sitting there and you realize, hey, time's a wasting. This gig's about up. What would you really want to ponder? All the money you saved and maybe what in the heck's going to happen when you die, or all the fun you had with it?
Well, I hope that in the future I'll be able to reflect on the fun that I had. Right now in my season of life, it's I'll be honest with you, it's a little hard to think about the fun side a lot of times. Just my household, Jessica is a stay-at-home mom, so we are a single income house. Kids are in school, that costs money. It's hard to think about, well, I'm just going to have fun with all this money. It's like, no, I got to save every penny and watch where I spend it and, drive a 15-year-old car and whatever. So I'm hoping that when I get to that point, I'll be at a point where I can look back and say I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you keep hanging in there. You've been, 10 years?
I've been here, yes, over 10 years now.
Well, we're going to get off that minimum wage kick pretty soon. You just hang in there. But remember, it's kind of like Bill Murray said in the movie Caddyshack. Remember, Aaron, roll it, Derek.
And he says, there won't be any money. But when you die, on your deathbed, you will receive total consciousness.
All right, in all seriousness, folks, let's talk about this a minute. Why is it that I see so many savers, and let's use the word fear, who are so fearful of spending and enjoying their money? Because I agree with Aaron. I mean, Aaron's got several years off before retirement. I remember those days when my kids were young. Of course, now, Aaron, I'm 63. I'm what I might call halftime. And most of my clients most of them are older than me, quite frankly. Many of them, I guess, as they come along, I'm kind of relating to them more and more as I turn a little older. But why are they so fearful to spend their money? Well, I've got several reasons for that. First of all, I think savers are afraid to spend their money in retirement because the financial world does not want them to spend it. Now think about this, folks. Let's imagine you've got your money invested with a money manager or any financial institution for that matter. Remember, the financial world makes money on your money while they possess it. If you take that money from them and spend it, that's less money they're going to make on your money. So they really have a vested interest in you not saving the money, not spending the money, but instead telling you to keep saving it. And there's a lot of fear that goes into that just the way they promote money, you're going to need it, you're going to get tossed in a nursing home, you better hang on to it, you're going to run out of money, et cetera, et cetera. That's one thing. I think the financial world puts that fear and that doubt in your minds because they have a vested interest in you not spending that money. The second reason I think many savers do not want to spend their money during retirement and enjoy it is because they grew up. Listen, especially a lot of baby boomers and even that generation before us, they watched people come out of the Depression. Aaron, I know my grandfather, he was born in 1918. Man, his first job at Bell South in 1932, in the middle of the Depression. As I watched him retire, guess how much money he spent in retirement?
Probably none.
None. His treat, I kid you not, folks, you're going to think I'm crazy. His big treat, the first ever Long John Silver's, was over behind my house in Lexington on Southland Drive. It's no longer there. I can remember they would come into town from Troy, Kentucky, head back to Troy, and a lot of times I'd ride back with them. And it was such a treat. We'd swing into Long John Silver's for fish and chips or peg legs. Take it all the way back to Troy, and I thought, man, this is the life. I mean, those things were like $3 or something. That was his idea of splurging. So, in fact, I want to play this. We had a documentary we produced years ago in 2004 called Say Goodbye to Granddad's Retirement. At the time, I interviewed a young lady who was in her 80s. Okay, so 2004, she's deceased now. But listen to her describe what it was like growing up with parents in the Depression.
I remember waking up in the night and hearing my mother and father worried about expenses, and that stayed with me. I guess it stayed with me all my life, because from then on, there was a feeling that you didn't want to ever do that. You didn't want to ever be in that situation.
The third reason I think savers are afraid to spend their money and enjoy it in retirement is because the majority of them I meet, Aaron, I had a bunch of appointments yesterday. Everyone that came in that was interested in a second opinion from us had no written game plan. None. Now, many will have, I call them financial calculators, retirement calculators. Folks, those are just spreadsheets. Those are just numbers on a page. That's not a written game plan. Those retirement calculators are bogus, I'm telling you. They will not help you plan for retirement and deal with all the changes that will come your way. The way you overcome your fears and worries, you got to get a written game plan. We have a proprietary game plan, unlike anything in the industry. We'll be happy to show you how it works. No cost whatsoever to see this game plan. Number 4, the final reason I think a lot of people just don't know what to do in retirement and are worried about how to spend their money and enjoy it before it's too late. Unfortunately, I think they're just working with, many cases, advisors who do not understand retirement. Folks, there are all kinds of people out there that will sell you products, sell you annuities, throw your money in a managed account. That is not retirement planning. Remember, the plan starts first. You've got to have a process. Then after that, the products go in the process, which is what we do with our proprietary split IRA concept. We meet with you first. We lay out the plan. Then we decide on the products. Please, 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 you're going to get yourself into trouble. You're not going to spend this money, I can assure you, if all you do is run out and load up on products, assuming you don't have a plan to go with them. Okay, when we come back, good stuff coming your way. I'm going to take you back down memory lane to 20 years ago when I wrote my first book, and one of the chapters in that book is going to surprise you to a worry-free retirement. I'm Tony Walker with Aaron Orander. We will be right back.
In the financial world, advisors are often divided between two categories, money managers or annuity specialists. My question is, why not have both? At Tony Walker Financial, we specialize in investments and securing guaranteed income you can never outlive. You know, we're more than just annuities. So if you're retired or retiring soon, why don't you give us a call or log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
More than 20 years ago, I wrote my first book at that time called Perfecting Your Walk in Retirement, which, due to the confusion over the title, I quickly changed the title to The Worry-Free Retirement. And funny, as I look back over that book and the outline of our show today, which includes being serious but also learning to have fun with your money, out of the 10 steps to a worry-free retirement, step 8, it's found on page 123 if you want to go online and get a copy of this book. It's called The Worry-Free Retirement. By the way, before I share with you step 8, don't let that confuse you with my most recent book, The Worry-Free Retirement Process. This book is a game changer. What I've done is I've taken all of my life's work, all of the work we do at Tony Walker Financial, and shared with you everything we do, all of the forms we use. I mean, this is a wonderful book, and it would be perfect for someone who is thinking about working with us, who is interested in our services. In fact, I'm going to make a free offer. What I'm going to do is for anybody that's interested in our services, who is serious about our services, I want you to do this. I want you to email Gina. That's Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. We're going to mail you, listen to this, Aaron, a hard copy of this book, all right, The Worry-Free Retirement Process. Again, the only prelude to that is you have to be serious about possibly, you don't have to, but possibly working with Tony Walker Financial and interested in our services. It's Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Make sure you provide your phone number and mailing address, and we'll get you this hard copy right off the bookshelves here. Okay, back to the book, The Worry-Free Retirement, and the chapter heading is Have Fun, Just Be Sure to Bring Someone with You. Now, earlier, if you're just now joining us, we were talking about our age difference here. I'm at halftime. Aaron Orander, America's favorite financial sidekick, is still in what we call the first half of life. He's got kids at home. He's trying to make ends meet, working his tail off. His wife's home taking care of the kids. But what did you recently do, Aaron? You carved out time and did what?
Yeah, we took some time and had a family vacation and went to Panama City for the week a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, just had a blast. Went and played some golf, hung out on the beach, hung out at the pool, took naps, we just enjoyed ourselves.
Well, that's good. See, there you go. So there you're building memories with money, which is what this theme is all about, folks. You're saving money for the future. I know this show is mainly geared towards retirees or those getting ready to retire. We've already disclosed that the financial world does not want you enjoying this money, because if you take it from them and enjoy it, that's less money for them to make money on your money. But that's where we're different at Tony Walker Financial. We recognize that people aren't going to live forever. We know you're not going to be able to take it with you. And through our vast experience in the retirement planning field, we realize many people wait way too long to enjoy their money. Speaking of that, I've got some great examples on enjoying your money. My late great mother-in-law, Dee Dee, who I was very, very close to, shortly after her husband, my father-in-law, died, and he took care of all the finances, Aaron, I mean, she kind of went into lockdown mode. Now, she'd shared a few things. I knew she had money. I knew Mr. Moore had some money, but she would not spend money. It was the craziest thing. So I never will forget, one day I'm over at the house, and she had a decent-sized big screen TV above, but her eyesight was starting to fail, and she started complaining about she couldn't see. I said, Dee Dee, you love watching TV. Go out and get you a new, bigger screen TV. And she goes, oh, Tony, I can't do that. This one's perfectly fine. So I said, yeah, it's fine, but you can't see it.
Yeah, but you can't see it. What's the point? It might as well be just a rock.
So I said, Dee Dee, and I looked at her and I said, get off your wallet. And she just said, I think I will get it. And here's what's funny about it, Aaron. In the book, Live Well, Die Broke, that chapter is featuring Dee Dee, and it's literally called Get Off Your Wallet, Dee Dee. And maybe that's some of you right now. You are afraid to get off that wallet, and more than likely, the reason you're afraid to get off of it is you don't have a written game plan from a trained retirement specialist that can, listen, give you permission to use and enjoy this money that you've worked so hard to save. So the keys to the worry-free retirement is, you got to be serious about your money. You got to keep fees down. You got to keep taxes down. Folks, we can help you with all that. I have a trained staff. We know a thing or two about retirement planning. We will take your money very, very seriously, and we're going to try to help you keep as much of it working for you instead of everybody else. But secondly, and just as importantly, I'm just telling you from experience, I want you to understand that you've got to use this money either for yourself, for your family, church, charity, because in the end, folks, you really can't take this with you. So how do we go about this? What are the 5 steps that we use in our process so that people can spend their money, but all the while make sure to monitor your progress? So the first step is, if you decide to meet with us, we're going to do something I call the vision exercise, where for about 30 minutes, you're going to let me see all of your financial information, look at your tax returns, look at all the statements. Let us do a thorough analysis of your situation. The second step is we will meet it usually takes about 2 weeks for us to put this plan together. I'll oversee it and lay it out. The income planning department will put it together. The second time we meet, we're going to go over our findings. And in that second meeting, that's where we're going to lay out all of our strategies. We're going to talk about the split IRA. We're going to make sure you fully understand how we're compensated for our work should you decide to do business with us. Go through all of that. But here's the best part, Aaron. They get to take that binder and think about it and review it. And for
they
many,
don't have to pay for that or anything like that.
No obligation. Where many advisors won't even show you anything unless you commit to writing a check to them. We do not do that at Tony Walker Financial. We're going to move at your pace. If you want to meet again, which a lot of people do, and then move forward, then we will spring into action. But here's the point. Anybody can sell you a product, folks. There's tons of people out there, nice people, some of them very well-intentioned, that can sell you annuities. They'll throw your money in a basket of mutual funds, whatever you want to do. They'll take your money gladly. But the question is, how are they equipped? How are they going to monitor your progress so that you can feel comfortable spending your money without the fear of running out of it? How are they going to do that? Well, that's what our staff does. We look at the plans at least annually. We always check them to make sure that the plans are going according to plan based on your original game plan. And if they're not, for whatever reason, we had someone the other day, Aaron, we noticed that their balances were much lower than they were supposed to be. Well, it wasn't because of the investments. The investments are doing fine. We called them up. They said, hey, we admit, Tony, we're just spending a lot of money. Well, in that case, I said, let's have a meeting just to make sure, because they were going pretty much great guns.
Right.
Now,
things change.
Things
change.
Yeah. That's why you need a retirement planning specialist to address those changes. So that's you right now. You might be sitting there saying, Tony, I really don't have anybody that I feel like is really on top of this. They're handling my money. Yeah, they're making money on my money, but I never know what to even do with the money. I don't understand the taxes. Don't understand these RMDs I got coming up. Whatever it is, we can help you with that, folks. So to get started to learn more about our operation, we have something we created called the 10-minute fiduciary phone call. It's absolutely free, where myself or one of our trained salaried fiduciaries will just find out a little bit about your situation. And if we think we can help, we're going to meet in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So why don't you do this right now? Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that little red box to set up your 10-minute fiduciary phone call, or you can simply call us anytime at 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. Okay, when we come back, interesting scenario. We're going to take two couples, exactly the same situation for each of them. One of them is getting ready to retire, and they're going to roll over their 401k to their current custodian that handles their 401k, a big, humongous, I would say, impersonal institution, and how they're going to handle their money for them. And then couple B, same employer, same amount of money, they are going to decide to work with Tony Walker Financial and follow the live well, die broke philosophy. And let's see, after examining these two couples, which one you would rather be. I'm Tony Walker. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you realize that if you have more than $250,000 in retirement assets, the government could tax as much as 40% of it when you go to take it out? And with current tax rates set to expire in 2025, the taxes you will owe on your 401k could climb even higher. Don't wait until 2025 to see how much Uncle Sam will take of your money. Get a game plan by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Before we share with you couple A and couple B, an interesting scenario I'm going to share, our Tony in the Trenches, on a more serious note, came in the other day from Jane out of Louisville. She says, Tony, I hate to admit this, but as I grow older, I'm having trouble keeping track of my money and thinking of turning over control to my adult children. Is this a good thing to consider doing? And if I do this and let them become what's called a power of attorney, what could be the potential negative consequences of relinquishing control of my money to them? Well, Jane, I wouldn't say not to do this, but boy, you better slow down on this one. In fact, someone I studied under, well-known CPA Ed Slott, back in 2004, I was in his first ever elite IRA advisor group. He had this recent article about a couple that did just this, Aaron. What they did was they allowed their adult child to have a power of attorney on them. They were getting older. The child, listen, conned them into her taking out a large distribution from the IRA. This is a true story, all right? So we always think of people scamming us. This was one of their own children. But here was the huge problem. It was over $700,000, I think, Mr. Slott talked about this case. It actually happened, okay, folks? The person took all the money out, did not withhold taxes. The daughter kept the money. But guess who was responsible for some $300,000 in taxes? You just can't go yanking $700,000 out. Who do you think was responsible for the tax bill?
Right.
The daughter or the parents?
The parents.
The parents.
Yeah.
So folks, here's my point. I would love to talk to any of you out there who are concerned about what's going to happen to your money when you die. And under the lived well, die broke philosophy, that's all the more reason you better spend and figure out how to get rid of this money before you die, because it's going to be a problem if you don't. And also remind you of the late, great Mark Twain, who said this: you never know someone until you share an inheritance with them. Okay, in our essence of time, we only got a couple of minutes here. We got couple A. They're 65. They got $1 million in their 401k. They're retiring. They're excited. They go to their big institution that handles their money. The big institution, the 1-800 number, folks, says, we can handle it. Let's just put it in an IRA, and we're going to continue to invest it in the market, and off you go. All right, that's couple A. No game plan. No idea of how much they can spend and enjoy. They've just been told that you better keep growing your money. That's kind of that fear thing, right, Aaron?
Yep.
You got to have more money for
just
the future.
Have more money just in case.
Just in case. There you go. Just in case you go in a nursing home. Just in case inflation eats away. So in other words, no game plan to really spend and enjoy this money. So you got to ask yourself, okay, folks, why did you save this money for retirement? Was it not to spend and enjoy it? Well, apparently not with a lot of these big financial institutions. So they go with the big boys, and that's fine. There they go. No game plan. All right, couple B, same employer, same amount of money. They've got $1 million in their 401k plan. They decide to get a second opinion from us. Now, this did happen fairly recently. So they came to us. They had already talked to this same big financial institution that the other couple had used. Are you with me, Aaron? Okay. This is a true story. And they sat down with us, and the first thing they commented on, they said, why are you asking all these questions about what we want to do with our money? And I said, well, isn't that the point of why you're here? And they said, well, no, we're here to invest our money. That's what we're here to do. And I said, well, we'll get to that. I mean, we do the investments. That's how we get paid. But without a clear understanding, Mr. and Miss Jones, I'll call them that, how in the world are we going to invest your money without knowing how you plan on spending it? So we went through the scenario I described earlier. Our second appointment, which was 2 to 3 weeks later, which is our routine. Again, no cost for this, folks. I laid out this game plan, and they didn't say anything the whole time. I'm thinking, I was having trouble reading them, Aaron. I'm thinking, are they impressed? Are
just
they
staring at you without blinking?
Just kind of had a little bit of deer in the headlights. And I concluded, the gentleman said, can we take this with us? I said, absolutely. And his wife said, I've never seen anything like this. This is crazy. And I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, this is the first time. Apparently, he kind of handled the finances. She said, this is the first time, Tony, I've truly ever understood what we even have. So, folks, you've got to understand something. If that's you right now, if you really don't understand what you even have to work with, my question is, how in the world are you going to feel comfortable enjoying what you've created? It makes no sense. So if that's you right now, let me make this offer to you. Here's how we work at Tony Walker Financial. Sometimes I don't think I make this clear enough. If you are retired or nearing retirement, or possibly even have a fairly sizable 401k out there somewhere, we do require a $50,000 account minimum to go through this process. But let's say you're still working, but you've got a former 401k. Or here's another thing. Maybe you're over the age of 59 and a half. Did you realize you can roll that 401k over to a professional management service like us that can take care of it and still keep working and contributing to your 401k? You can do that. All right? So why don't you do this? Rather than just sitting there, vaguely trying to manage your money or letting somebody else managing it and growing it at all risk and you have no game plan to enjoy it, let us at least go through this free analysis, give you a second opinion. To take advantage, just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Click on that Let's Get Started. We'll arrange that free phone call, and if it merits, we will meet with you in person. That's right, the owner of the company in the Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Do it now, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or give us a call at 877-499-9255. Well, folks, that's all the time we have today, but you remember between now and next week, if all else fails, you make it a good one and you be worry-free.